Gary in Chicago, listening to WCPT. Hey, Gary, what's up?
Hi, Tom. Yeah, I listened to you and the teacher. You know, you guys are sort of patting yourselves in the back, how open-minded and everything, but it seems to me the left is more vicious and more reluctant to hear the opposition opinion. And
vicious?
You know, I could bring up...
How is the left vicious?
Yeah. I was listening to the Steph show earlier, and right away they start, you know, screw redneck. And
well, Gary, you're not. That's not the show you're listening to right now, and I can't speak for another show. But and I don't think any one show.
Even with the gun guy, you guys are
sure.
just arguing back and forth. It's like the point of you conversing with him is you believe different things. Did anything he say made sense to you? Did anything you say made sense to him?
I think so. I think Neil and I actually have some areas where we're pretty close in opinion. And Neil, by the way, is a friend. I mean, he's as conservative as they come, and he's a decent man.
But I tried talking to people left on, you know, I agree some things left, some things are right. One thing I don't agree with is Obamacare. And if I bring up something simple like, okay, the person who passed this law, Obama and Pelosi and Reid, they exempted themselves from it. You know, if that was Bush passing some major overhaul, and he, at the same time, telling you it's great for you, but I'm exempting myself from it,
well,
if question it on the left, why
if that was
just be honest and say that's bull, that he passes a law for everyone, and then he exempts himself and she exempts herself.
Gary, if that was true, I would share your outrage. But members of Congress, you know, they basically right now buy their insurance from a pool, and it will be under the Obamacare pool eventually. Maybe, I don't know how, you know, I think the president has his own doctor, and that's been going on for...
In the private sector, enough for companies we work with, and if you have to buy your own insurance, stuff like that, literally since this bill is passed, and I can send you statements if you don't believe me, my health care coverage has doubled.
Oh, the health insurance companies are robbing us blind, Gary. These guys are making so much profit. You know, Stephen J. Hemsley, the guy who's the CEO of United Healthcare, has taken over $1 billion in compensation. He's got 100 people making over $1 million.
It's got to change.
It's
got to change. Either just go all for the single payer, or totally revamp, you know, the private healthcare system. Or how about this?
I'm with you.
I have a family member who's a genius. He's a structural engineer. He could have been a doctor. He had the brain. He didn't have the money. Right. I would be so for public money to get more and more doctors, more and more hospitals, more and more whatever. And I think that would lessen the cost, because then they would have some competition. They couldn't just charge you whatever you want.
Well, that's how it is in every other country in the world. We pay about twice as much as any other country in the world for health care, and we're 27th in the world in terms of outcomes.
But my point is, conservatives are nervous that there will be a doctor shortage. That's their big complaint. Instead of just calling them a hillbilly or saying redneck about that, you know, let's hear their complaint and match it and just say, well, what we're going to do so there won't be a doctor shortage is we're going to pay for these kids that are going to be engineers or other degrees where they have the brain.
I'm with you, Gary. I'm with you. In fact, I'd like to take it a step farther, and because I'm a big believer in individual responsibility. It was my whole point about why I think that, you know, gun owners should register their guns and get, you know, just basic insurance and show proficiency. I also think that we should make a deal with our young people. That's our intellectual infrastructure. That's the future of this nation, as you correctly pointed out. And I think the deal should be this. And this is how Germany did it in the 80s when I lived there. I don't know if they still do. I know a lot of European countries do. If you will serve your country for a year, and it need not be in the military, although that would be the first option that would be presented to you. But if you are a conscientious objector, you don't want to go into the military, then you could do that year's service in a hospital or in a school or some other appropriate place where you're helping out some nonprofit organization, homeless shelter, whatever. If you will serve your country for a year, then we will give you a college education all the way up to MD or PhD at no cost. And
it would cost the taxpayers less in the end, I guarantee it.
You're absolutely right. And the GI Bill is the proof of that. You know, the money that we spent on the GI Bill, we made back 16 to 17 times in tax revenue over the life of the people who took the GI Bill in additional tax revenues.
Thanks for hearing me out. And I just think healthcare, we need to talk more about it. It's just out of control. Obamacare didn't solve it. It just confused it, in my opinion. And, you know, just for the friends on the left, just to let you know.
Okay.
I grew up in Louisiana, and it's just sensitive when people just say redneck just to be snarky or just to make an easy point on an argument. Because you go to a trailer park or redneck park, you know, whatever you want to call it,
right
down south, it's a sad situation. You know, you got little kids running around holding their only teddy bear, and you know,
I know.
criminals living amongst them. It's sad. It's as sad as going to an urban, black, poor community that don't.
Poverty is terrible wherever it is.
The last thing they need is to be called names and to be viciously attacked, and they should be defended too. And a lot of them are, Democrats, by the way. People don't talk about it, but they are. They have to vote that way to get some support. So let's just remember we're all together and just be a little bit nicer to each other. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you, Gary. And thanks for listening to WCPT in Chicago. Oh, 24 seconds? Oh, I'm sorry. And you're off by a minute. Okay, cool. So you're going to have a minute and a half. Marty in Denver, listening to 760 AM. Hey, Marty, what's up?
Hello. Hi, Tom. I'm sorry. I'm almost lost my train of thought here. You were talking about Grayson Ouspensky and all, which I didn't even try to read Beelzebub's Tales to His Son and stuff. It was very, very confusing 35, 40 pages that I got through on it.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Same here.
I was kind of going on that line of thought, but if I may digress, if it's okay with you.
Sure.
Just in general.
Well, we have a half a minute.
Okay.
It's all yours.
Just to are we our politics or are politics us? And I generally think that, for me personally, I'm not my politics because I do have some very conservative views, but I'm going to give you the $64,000 question here that you might expound on and tell me maybe where I can read about some opinions like this. Why is it that here in the United States we don't look at the systems that are running countries in Scandinavia in particular? And I traveled a couple of years throughout Europe and spent some time in Scandinavia. It seems like there's almost a perfect marriage between capitalism and socialism.
Yes, it's called democratic socialism, and it's how the Nordic states are all run, and it works quite well. Thank you very much. And I think it's not talked about in the United States anywhere near enough. I agree with you, Marty, and I think the main reason it's not is because there's a bunch of greedy capitalists in this country who would rather you didn't know about it because it involves regulating capitalism. Marty, thank you for the call.